right, guys, we're starting off with episode 26 of Shoot the J. To my left, we have Don, as always. Beneath, we have Tyrone with the hamburger lamp on him right now. Shoot the J. And what are y'all drinking?
Got jokes,
start
huh?
off with you. Oh, yes.
I got jokes this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Well, I got
good old.
Gotta listen, brother.
Right,
Listening is fundamental. Go ahead.
Talk about
I got good old Gatorade, dog. After a long, hard series, you need this Gatorade to recover.
Yes.
And I got 3/4 drunk H2O right here.
I'm not mad at you. I got spring water is what I got. After another hard day on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Well, our first topic today is the Jake Paul, Ben Askren lineup. Twitter is going crazy with it, saying that Ben Askren took a dive to make Jake Paul look like a legitimate fighter. What are y'all thoughts on the fight? Did y'all see it as him taking a dive, or did he just get knocked the heck out?
The latter. He got knocked the heck out. The thing is, they said that, he showed up like he'd been pushing the lawnmower and stuff like that. Hey, that's not my problem. You knew the fight was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You must have underestimated that man, thought you can come in there and beat him, whatever. Whatever shape you show up in is what shape you show up in, you know? Well, what it does tell me is Nate Robinson wasn't as bad as we thought he was, you know? So maybe that's something right there. But these guys going to figure out, these boxers, these people who know how to box, man, it's a different thing from MMA, man. You can't come with these sweeping punches like that, bro. Ain't no kick coming back at you. And usually it's the straight 1 or straight 1-2 that gets these cats, man.
Like you said, when you look at the UFC training for multiple styles.
Got a little growl in the background there.
That's a growl again, brother.
Yeah, I don't have nothing else open. I don't know why I'm growling. Let me see if I can close.
Stop now.
I closed one of them other windows there. Somebody had Spotify on as soon as you turn this computer on, but that's not me. Wait. He all right? Looks like David lost his best friend.
Just my mind.
So back to what I was saying. I agree with Ty in that these UFC fighters have gotten to a point where, they are legitimately ready for any fighting style except boxing. you have to really be able to throw their hands with quickness and evade punches. And these guys are not the greatest at evading punches. Just watch a couple of UFC matches and you'll see 3 rounds is usually over. Maybe sometimes 2 rounds. So, if they want to start fighting boxers, they need to bone up on their boxing skills and get a trainer. And then, like Ty said, come in shape, because you need to be running somebody around the ring. You can't let Jake Paul get you at the first round with some haymakers. I mean, and then Jake Paul and them can't fight duds anymore. They're proving themselves that they're not amateurs. So they need to fight boxers. I'd love to see a real boxer fight Jake Paul, since now they call themselves entering these ranks. So let's see a real match.
I agree with both of y'all, particularly with Tyrone. You can't disrespect the game like that and think because you did combat sports that you can come in and dominate in a YouTuber in a boxing match. Particularly with Jake Paul, really doesn't have anything else to do but practice and box. That's all he has to do, and turn the camera on, act a fool on YouTube is all he has to do. So he can set aside time. And as Tyrone said, bro, you coming in shape, that's not my job for you to get in, for me to get you in shape. You got to come in. And another thing, 2 things that what I see MMA fighters lack, okay? And I'm not running, I don't want everybody to go crazy. I'm not running MMA fighters down, because the reality is, and as much as a boxing fan as I am, reality is MMA is closest to the real fighting than anything, right? You get in a fight in the streets, you're gonna
be on the ground sometime.
You're gonna be on the ground pretty quickly. You might might get a knee or elbow. That's the closest to a real fight, okay? But boxing, you learn right away, it's a game of inches. If you don't measure that distance right and you in the kill zone, somebody's gonna get you out of there, okay? And 2, their stance is too wide open, as y'all said, to try to block kicks and grab and protect themselves. You got to get that silhouette a lot smaller. And that right hand just went right over his shoulder and caught him right on the jaw. And if Ben Askren can act like that, he needs to be in acting. There's no way that was a dive. When he got hit in the face, his back leg gave out on him, and he jumped on the ground. So that, in my opinion, so far as let me hit you type thing, it wasn't a dive.
There's two things I want to say about that, Dave.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Don, to cut you off. First thing is the guy that you have behind you, Muhammad Ali, almost lost his legs fighting against an MMA fighter. A guy was kicking him on the ground with his legs so much that he had clots all in his legs, right?
Yep.
So you got to respect the rules of whatever. The other thing I got to say is Dana White is not paying these guys enough money, because if they're going to take this thing sideshow stuff and make more money than they ever made. I mean, Ben Ash, or whatever the cat's last name is, he made, this was his biggest payday, and he showed up like a snowman. You know what I'm saying? So what is that teaching you? You got to pay these cats more money if they are putting their bodies and their minds and their whole family career on the line. You paying them pennies? Y'all supposed to be better than boxing. If you look at the ESPN menu, MMA comes before boxing, but they ain't getting the same type of money.
And you're weakening your brand too. If you keep putting your fighters, your MMA guys as top level, Ben Askren was 19-2, which for MMA is a great record, because everybody fights everybody. That guy was 19-2 and fought some of the best strikers that they have. So you keep damaging your brand, put them in a boxing ring, and see them get knocked out. People are going to go swing back. Maybe there is something to this boxing. If your best top level guys are getting beat by a YouTuber, come on. Your best brand guy, Conor McGregor, can't beat a 45-year-old Mayweather who didn't train. You're 27, he's 45. And you're 170, you come in 175, 180 pounds, and he weighs 146 and knock you out? You're damaging your brand. Don, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think, like Ty said, you pay these guys, that's number one. But number two is, if the money is to be made with sideshows, you can't stop your fighters from going to make the money. I mean, they have contracts with you, but they also undoubtedly they have an ability to make money on the side with these sideshow fights. So you can't stop that. All I would tell these guys is, man, you know, it wasn't a dive. You can see that the dude popped right back up. He wanted to fight some more, but the ref ruled him out. I knew he was going to get knocked out again, but
his jaw ruled him out too. His jaw was like, we ain't doing this again.
You got to, in my opinion, get a boxing trainer. And you have to take, like you all say, don't disrespect boxing, because you're in UFC. And yes, y'all can kick, punch, choke, and grapple, and lay against the fence, and grab a man by the neck, and choke him out, and thumb him around his eyes, and all that good stuff. But when it comes to that boxing ring, it's a whole different ballgame.
You talked about that like that was your style of fight, right? There, thumb him in the eye, choke him.
I watch UFC. I see what they do you.
Well, bro, look, I don't know if it was the training that was the problem. He had Tyron Woodley in his corner, and so far as boxing and MMA is concerned, I think Woodley. Come on, let's be honest. I think Woodley can train him enough to beat Jake Paul. I mean, he ain't in there with Mayweather swapping punches, right? And Askren said after the fight, he said Woodley kept telling him, he said, back up. He kept telling him, back up, watch out for that stupid right hand. And he said, I didn't listen, and I got caught with it. It's like, you can't disrespect the game like Davidson said, bro. You built like a bag of milk coming in here, bro. Come on, man.
Did Woodley tell him to keep his hands up?
I don't know.
Did Woodley? His hands was down the whole fight. I mean, you going against a boxer with your hands like this.
1940 style.
Come on, man. You like this. Come on, man. You need to have your hands up.
You look like he should have had Rocky's trainer. He should have been chasing like a rooster or something around the room. That's what he should have been doing. Maybe he needed to do that.
Face this chicken, Rock.
This was from an old washed up man.
That'll be he ain't punching enough ribs.
I'm with Don. Let's see what his next matchup is. His brother Logan Paul is supposed to fight Floyd Mayweather June 5th.
If he gets past his legal issues, he could.
Oh, the older one. The older one's got legal issues?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's supposed to fight June 5th. He said he wants Conor McGregor, not this fight, but the next fight is what Jake Paul wants.
Jake
because he
Paul.
knows it's going to be a mega payday, for him or whatnot. So we'll see who he fights the next one. Let's move on to our next topic. The Pelicans kind of stalled in the playoff race. We're shifting positions a lot between Lonzo and Zion Williamson. Are the Pelicans going to get it together this year, or is this going to be another scenario of wait till next year? Will they be able to get it together enough to get into the play-in tournament?
Well, I'll start here. I mean, just looking at the records, they're 4 games back from Golden State Warriors, who's in the 10th spot for a play-in tournament. Golden State has a 30-30 record. New Orleans Pelicans 26-34. It depends on the 7, 8, 9, and 10 teams. You're looking at really the Spurs, who you really need to win and beat the other night, and Golden State. Will they have a tougher schedule than you going forward? And if we don't know how to close games out as Pelican players, then the chances of getting the playoffs this year is slim to none. They're just going to have to start preparing for next year. I like what they're trying to do, but you got to learn how to close out games.
All right.
It's hard for a coach to come in the first year with not his players and not his philosophy intact. And we know Stan Van Gundy does better defense than what the Pelicans are doing. But he's got a lot of Band-Aids happening right now. He switched Zion to more like a point forward kind of person. And that's helped give him a little spark. But Lonzo looked like he's lost in space sometimes, where he doesn't know what his true identity is. I like the way Ingram and Zion is playing off each other, but it seems like they need to get some veterans on their team to help them learn how to close out and deal with in-game issues. So I think that when you have a coach that comes in for his first time, a la Doc Rivers when he came into the Clippers, he had a whole hodgepodge of a team. He had Karan Butler. He was really, really guard heavy when Doc Rivers got the Clippers. And he did pretty good with that team, but it wasn't until he started developing his identity, grabbing some of his old players from Boston. And you see the same thing happen with Tom Thibodeau. He brought in a lot of his old Chicago Bulls players when he was coaching, Derrick Rose, Gibson, Taj Gibson, and a couple of other players that played with him in his scheme from Chicago. And so Stan Van Gundy's going to have to do the same thing. He's a little bit volatile as a coach, though. So, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I'm hoping that they could make it in. I think the NBA is setting up this play-in tournament like it did last year so Zion could be in it, so they could spark revenue. But, I mean, you can lob it up. They got to be able to dunk it home. You just got to get to the 10th spot, And San Antonio is ahead of you, Golden State. And it's makeable, but you can't lose 2 points to the whoever they played last. I can't remember.
Spurs.
Yeah, 2 points where you should have. Like that's directly in your way. If you beat the Spurs, you're taking a win from them, and you're also advancing your position. So, I mean, when is it going to feel like a playoff game for them?
My thing is, when does the coach take any blame for this? Like we talk about veteran play and heady play. That's the coach's job in the last 2 minutes of the game to get you. That's the whole reason we got rid of Alvin Gentry, because we're blowing big leads and stuff like that in the end. And then we're playing for our lives in the last 30 seconds. When does the coach bear any responsibility?
He's better than Alvin Gentry, though.
Huh?
He's way better. He's way better than Alvin Gentry.
He's better, but the coach, in my opinion, you don't need Rajon Rondo in there just to run the offense for the last 2 minutes. If I got an 11-point lead with 2 minutes left, I should be able to close that game out. Coach, run a couple sets, okay, and not run this isolation ball with Brandon Ingram on the corner, because as talented a scorer Brandon Ingram is, he's a ball stopper. When the ball gets his hands, everybody knows he's going to shoot it. When's the last time you seen Brandon Ingram throw an alley-oop to Zion? Okay? He's going to shoot it every time. You can't play off of Brandon Ingram. You could play through him, but you can't play off of him. And so and you move Zion Williamson to the point, well, what I got Lonzo for? He's going to just play defense and throw up a better three, not a good three, but a better three-point shot up? Like some of these schemes in my mind, these pieces are not working with Zion on the ball and Lonzo floating, and you got what's your big man? Steven Adams doing what? Out in space, not being a recipient of the ball, and Jackson
Rebounding.
going around. Some of these schemes are not working to me. If you're up 11 with 2 minutes left, you don't need a vet to win the game, man. Call a timeout, and the coach says, hey, we're running flex for the next 24 seconds to get us a good shot. We're not stopping the ball. We're not shooting quick.
Okay, well, what about when you told Eric Bledsoe not to foul? Or to foul, I'm sorry, in that situation. And Eric Bledsoe said, well, honestly, I kind of like zoned out in the huddle. So what can you do about that as a coach? I mean, he's a player.
You don't play next game. And they'll learn not to zone out next time. You saw what he did to Eric, huh? They know the deal. That's what you do as a coach. You can't zone out. These
cats making more money than the coach. These cats are making more money than the coach.
But even more, you can't zone out. What does Eric Bledsoe make? Probably something like $37,000 a game. I'm paying you to zone out for 37. You break that down per minute.
Hey, the best of us.
And you zone out. I want your attention every minute for $1,000 a minute.
Listen. The best of us zone out. I go back to what you said about the coaching. You got to put your players in the best position to win. And I mean, if you're going to run offensive sets, just like you said, you need to run offense. Help you match their position on the floor. Far too many times we see Brandon Ingram, like David said, in one-on-one sets with 12 seconds on the shot clock, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Now he's playing against both teams. He hasn't arrived. He's not KD yet. He does average 28 to 30 points a game, yes, but he doesn't have that killer instinct yet where he gets the ball and he's demanding it because he already knows where he's going on the floor to take his kill shot. That is not happening. I would rather you play your offensive set and run it through Zion, those last points, because chances are he's going to get you at the line and he's going to make the layup. So it's a better chance to me. And Lonzo has been playing a lot better. He's been injury riddled. The poor fella is trying to come in and out, and play significant minutes, but he's very competent with the ball. You have to respect other people when Lonzo is on the floor. So he's a pretty decent player. I think Steven Adams clogs up the paint a little too much when Zion is on the floor. He has to find a way to float high and then float back low after the move has been made from Zion going to the cup. He could also set some high screens and get Brandon Ingram over.
Yeah.
If he sets a couple high screens with his big body, then Brandon Ingram might have a better look coming off those screens. And so, don't just let Brandon Ingram go into a shake and bake style game to try to end it for you. I mean, just a little things like that at the end of the game you have to be mindful of.
Steven Adams is a big disappointment, Don, to me, because I think Russell Westbrook kind of ruined him at OKC to make him just like a passing, facilitating big man and gets rebounds, but I don't see anybody who could stop him down there. And he doesn't have the, sometimes you get branded in the NBA of what you are. Like Lou Williams is just a six man and Jamal Crawford and stuff. Sometimes you get branded at that. It's very hard to shake that. You know what I'm saying? Only a couple of people have broken out of that mold. Like you look at Jordan Clarkson right now, what he's doing with Utah. He's broken out of the mold of what he was, and now he's just a volume shooter, a microwave type of cat. But sometimes, man, these people getting like Eric Bledsoe is a journeyman. But I remember Bledsoe used to back up Chris Paul, and he was talking about he's going to be the future of the team. But he never blossomed. Jeff Teague never blossomed to what he is now. They're just facilitators now. Even Derrick Rose has some shadows of himself, but he's just more of a facilitator now, So once you get into them roles, that's it. But Steven Adams, I'm like, man, this is your opportunity. You got Zion that's commanding so much attention. You could be just like, I even see what's his name from the Clippers. Zubac is making more plays and more points than Steven Adams. Steven Adams is like Marc Gasol now without the three-pointer. You know what I'm saying? He just kind of facilitates and throws the ball around.
But I've never been a fan of a tall point guard and a small shooting guard. Lonzo and Eric Bledsoe together, I've never been a fan of a tall point guard who can see over the defense and kick it to guys ahead, and get all the angles. But your shooting guard is 6'2". Your shooting guard is shorter than I am. He can't finish at the rim. So what are you basically doing? you pass it to him, a low percentage shot for a three. I've never been a fan of the two guard being a smaller guy than a point guard.
That's why Steph Curry switched. That's why Steph Curry this last year switched to point guard. He was a shooting guard at Davidson.
David Griffin's got to take responsibility for some of these moves, right? He went here's another thing. Let me back up. First of all, you got Lonzo on a trade block. Every 5 minutes, there's a rumor about him in a Times-Picayune on Yahoo that he's available for signing trade. The Lakers proved 2 years ago that the rookies, the young players, don't play well when their name is being swirled out there. They folded 2 years ago when they were talking about trading them to make the Anthony Davis trade, before 2 seasons ago. Okay, they don't have the headspace. I guess they don't have the maturity or the toughness, whatever it is. It's not a knock on them. They're young. Okay. So they don't play well. You're screwing with these guys' confidence when you're saying, you're good enough to start. Oh, no, we want you out of here. And you don't know what city you're going to live in. And you have brothers that's playing the NBA and your brothers lighting it up. And everybody's talking about LaMelo. And you done went from LA to New Orleans and they got you on a trade block. When is Dave Griffin going to get any culpability for any of these moves either to bring Steven Adams in to get a high price guard at Eric Bledsoe?
I can't be too down on the player, and this is why I say that. Lonzo is averaging 14 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and almost 6 assists per game. Steven Adams, if we look at his point line, 8 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. It's about how you're using them. And if you have me down there and you say, go to the basket. I'm going to be going to the basket. I'm going to be playing around the basket. I'm going to be trying to feed off the future players. I'll set a screen sometimes, in the set, offense set, or I'm going to go to the boards after the marquee players hit the rebound. He's doing just what he's being told to do. That's what I'm going to tell you. Now, I'd like to see Jackson Hayes a little more in the lineup. I think he brings that athleticism and that youth. Now, sometimes he makes kind of suspect decisions on defense, and he's late jumping at the balls, trying to block shots. But I think he's developing more to be a more complete center for the Pelicans. If you want to talk, we need to get him developed more.
To your point, Don, somebody was the Lakers were playing somebody, and somebody on the other team was mic'd up, and Andre Drummond was on the free throw block, right? And this is what he said. He said, "Time to see if you guys been in the weight room." That's what he says to the 2 guys that's next to him. So Steven Adams is supposed to be one of the strongest people in the NBA, right? Shouldn't he be saying that? It's time to see if you guys been in the weight room.
Right.
Take this ride. You know what I'm saying? That's what he should be doing. So I don't know, man.
I mean, that's your veteran presence. That's the veteran. He's been in all kind of playoff games with Durant and with Russell Westbrook. He's been in those situations. That is your veteran presence that you have. You don't always have to be a point guard to be the veteran presence. Look at Udonis Haslem, who, they were getting blasted out of the finals. And then he's, started firing his team up. And they took 2 games off the Lakers, before eventually losing. So you got to be aggressive, man. Sometimes the older guy got to set the tone. Okay. Say about 8 points, in my opinion, bro, 8 points and 8 rebounds for a 7-footer, bro. And 2 assists. There ain't no great numbers.
And the strongest guy in the league.
You see what Dwight Howard is doing, huh?
Again, that goes back to coaching. One thing is a player expectation about what we expect from a player. The other thing is the coaching. What are they telling him?
You only got a certain amount of great coaches, though.
Huh?
You only got a certain amount of great coaches to go around.
So what are they telling him? What are they telling him his role is? Think about it. How many times a coach told you your role and you followed it, and then people say, well, you didn't play as well as I thought you would have. Then you get that same player with a different coach, and all of a sudden that player looks like they all world. And now you're saying, well, what happened to him? He us. How many players left us and had major success at other teams?
Julius Randle.
And come on, Julius Randle is a star right now for the Knicks.
Like an MVP.
We handcuffed the man here in New Orleans. Look at what we doing to the players.
Peja Stojakovic, champion.
Look at Byron Scott and his style.
David West, champion with the Golden State Warriors.
Anthony Davis.
J.R.
Yeah,
Smith, champion with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Los Angeles Lakers.
Right. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, let's hope that they get it together. Our guest has just joined the waiting room. We're going to add our guest in.
Okay, great. Who we got here?
Let's see.
Come on in, brother. Oh, man. Are you there, bro? There he is.
There he is.
Oh.
All right, I got it. Got Tyrone, got Dave, got Don.
Yeah, what's up, Big Gabe?
What's happening?
We
What's happening?
So Gabriel Dennis, military veteran, Omega Psi Phi. Is that correct too, right?
Alpha Phi Alpha.
Oh, my bad, dog.
Incorporated.
Black and gold.
I think he did that on purpose, Gabe. I think he did that on purpose.
Yes, I'm sure he did.
Alpha Phi Alpha. My bad. We welcome you to the show. We always start off. We already see you got the cigar lit. But what are you drinking right now?
I'm drinking McCallum Double Cast.
Ooh, we got the real good stuff.
All right.
You're doing better than me, Gabe. I'm stuck until I can get my battery generated after running today.
I hear you, brother.
Well, we
going to keep your light down.
Well, we have you on the show. We want to let you take the first crack at our final topic, and that is, I'm sorry, he's got the Laker jersey on right now. I think
Laker jacket.
Laker starter jacket, baby. Laker starter jacket.
Yeah.
And Gabe is a boxing aficionado too, so we could talk to him about the Jake Paul thing.
Yeah, we'll go back to the Jake Paul Ben Askren match in a minute. Let's get him in his take on the Lakers. With Anthony Davis returning, LeBron James down the horizon, do you think in his last 15 games that the Lakers have enough time to mesh and make a title run?
To be honest, I'm not sure because I don't know when LeBron is coming because he's the straw that stirs the drink.
All right.
Just getting AD back is not enough. They just don't have enough. Well, one, you can see the last two games. There's very little chemistry between those guys currently playing with him. They added on some new players who are playing well, but to add your superstar back, one of your superstars, you need a lot more chemistry and you need the facilitator to be there in order to make all this stuff work. So it's going to depend on when LeBron comes back. If they get about a week, they should be all right. If not, then they have to do it in the first series, and that's against Denver. That's going to be a tough task. But if healthy and with enough time to build chemistry, the Lakers will be a tough out.
All right. Go ahead, Don.
Well, LeBron comes back Thursday, so we'll see what happens. He's projected to come back Thursday, and I agree with Gabe. You know, they need that chemistry. LeBron is actually the facilitator of their offense, and we know what he does when he's on the court and when he's on the floor. You're looking at playing your last 3 games in April. You play all the way until May 15th. You know, projected that nobody gets hurt. The Lakers should make a good little run. Making the championships, that's a whole nother ballgame, in my opinion. But they should be able to make a good little run.
Tyrone?
Yeah, I agree with Don. I think that they're going to make it when LeBron comes back. And like Gabe said, that chemistry is a big thing. You know, you got Paul George balling out of control. They got a whole wave of people over at the Clippers. Now, I'm not convinced that any of these teams can be dominant. And you know the formula is whoever gets hot first, as we saw Denver did. Denver is mixing a big spark from their lineup with Jamal Murray not being there. They've been kind of soft to me anyway without Jamal Murray. And so Dallas, when I saw AD play Dallas the second game, he was really playing and it made a big difference. I think he was still on minutes restrictions, so he really couldn't close out the game like they needed him to. But they were whipping up on Dallas when he was in there. And it's also that combination of Schroeder, AD, who comes in with them. Drummond, I think it'll be solidified when LeBron James and Drummond plays off each other too. I want to see how that works out chemistry-wise. But you only have a little small window to talk about chemistry. And you look across the pond at the New Jersey, the Brooklyn Nets, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, hey, they need chemistry. They haven't played together, their big three. So you look at the same thing on their side, although they have way more playmakers than the Lakers have. So, yeah.
Don, you already look like you're getting the cramp there, bro, on the top of the screen here, bro.
Man, I tried to move my leg up and my thighs started cramping up on me over here. I'm about to take another swig of Gatorade.
Here's what I say. Strangely, I agree with Gabe on this. Okay.
Whoa. What?
It all depends on LeBron James, what he looks like, and when he comes back, if he has enough time to mesh. Now, what I will say is, what separates the Lakers to me from every other team in the West is that they play great defense. Great, tough team defense. And that's what's been keeping them really afloat while LeBron and AD have been out. In addition to Drummond giving them extra possessions has really helped them. So I think their defense, I have to say, I wasn't thrilled with Frank Vogel as coach when they announced him over like Ty Lue and Jason Kidd. But now, after I saw what he did, the adjustments he made throughout the playoffs last year in the finals, I'm really a Vogel fan. And the way he's been having them play defense, particularly defensively during this stretch, where they've been, going after everybody defensively, I think that helps you buy time when your shots are not falling, your time is a little bit off, that you can still stop people, until you get right. So,
I mean, that's what they brought Vogel in for. Vogel is known for his defense. The knock I have against Vogel is you never see them in some really innovative sets. It's just like you live and die with LeBron being the coach in the game. And that's cool and all, but I've never seen LeBron have like the tip-top coach to put him in that kind of situation. Not maybe he doesn't need it, you know what I'm saying? Because he's won with 3 different teams. So, but I've never seen him in a situation like, even with Miami, they won just because of sheer just talent and experience, but they were overplaying the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs was passing them to death. And I'm like, man, they almost lost to, who did they almost lose to? Well, they didn't. That year, they was really killing. They was sweeping through everybody. But just their sheer prowess alone was beating everybody. And I feel that's what it always is with LeBron. LeBron has rested more maybe last season and this season than I've ever seen in a long time. But that's what they brought Vogel in, was for that defensive acumen that he has as coaching. And then they brought Jason Kidd as a relief valve just in case, So, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. But, sometimes as a coach, when you got talent, like guys like LeBron and Anthony Davis, sometimes you can overthink yourself. Sometimes give them the ball and let them do their thing. I mean, like you say, he's won 3 championships, 4 championships with 3 different franchises. Everywhere they go, you're in the finals or, deep into the playoff run. Sometimes you can go a little crazy with sets. I mean, pick and roll with AD is the set, if you ask me. I ain't got to run a Princeton cut or nothing like that, or flex with LeBron James. He's a matchup nightmare, so is AD. Sometimes, and I understand you don't want to get predictable, Tyrone, where you see him isolation out there. But sometimes, shout out to Coach Melvin with the double pick play with DW. Shout out Coach Melvin. Sometimes you could just go off the wall with some of these plays sometimes. You know what I mean? You got talent. Let the talent work.
That's what we would do with Don, bro. We just unleash Don on people. We don't run no sets for Don. We just give him the ball.
That's the way he wants it, too.
Now, with Gabe, on the other hand, he controls the whole flow of the thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Hey,
Gabe be calling plays. We don't even know what the plays are.
Like, does this brother have a whistle out there while he's playing? What the set?
Point guard mentality, baby. Gotta be a general on the floor. You see what Chris Paul is doing for Phoenix right now.
Yes, that's my team.
Yes. Well, let's move on. Gabe, early on we talked about Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. We don't know if you caught the fight or not. Maybe seen it on YouTube afterwards. Jake Paul has another victim, another body on his record after knocking out Nate Robinson previously. And now a legit MMA fighter, Ben Askren, who was 19-2 before he retired. Some people on the internet are saying it was a dive. What are your thoughts on that? Was it a dive, or what, did he legit get knocked out?
Okay, so don't know if it was a dive or not. I don't really care. All I know is that guy ain't no legitimate MMA fighter. He's definitely not a legitimate boxer. And Jake Paul hasn't fought a legitimate boxer yet. So until he fights a legitimate boxer or MMA fighter, I don't really care which one he fights. Uh, he needs to fight some professionals. Right now, to me, he's fighting video people like he is. Nate Robinson was an amateur at best, if you're gonna call him that, but he's somebody that's trying to take up boxing at 30 plus years old. We know that the sweet science is not built over a couple of months.
Correct.
So him beating Nate Robinson, nothing. Nate Robinson was not a professional boxer, so that's nothing.
Well, Gabe, I got
Um,
another question for you too. So Terrence Crawford was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao, and they seem like Pacquiao is backing out, and they're going to try to put Sean Porter in his place. What do you think about that?
oh, he's gonna kill Porter. He's gonna kill Porter. He would have killed Manny too. I love Pacquiao. I mean, I think Pacquiao is underrated in terms of his resume. His resume is above the greats, or right with the greats. The guy that fought people way bigger than him. That rarely ever happens when somebody that small fighting all the way up to middleweight. That never happened. And won championships at all those levels. That the dude got a great resume. He should be considered one of the great. I don't know how to rank him top 5, top 10, top 20, but he should be in somewhere in that. Now I'm surprised Pacquiao is backing out of the fight because he ain't really got nothing to lose. I mean, he only has something to win. Crawford is the only one that has something to lose with a Crawford and Pacquiao fight.
I
I
think he's
mean,
backing out because of the money. I
well,
think he
yeah,
wants
that
more
probably,
money.
yeah, that's probably the case. I mean, like I said, unless he's just fighting for continued glory, at this stage of your career, you ought to be thinking about the money. Even though I don't think he needs the money because he done made a lot of money over his career, and he lives in the Philippines. That money go real long in the Philippines, real long. So I'm surprised he's backing out because Pacquiao don't normally duck any fights. So I'm a little surprised about that. But if they put Sean Porter, Porter is tough, but Crawford gonna figure him out and he gonna punish him. He might not knock him out, but he gonna punish him for at least eight of the 12 rounds. He gonna punish him.
Ooh, ooh, punish 8 or 12 rounds. Ooh, that's
He gonna
bad.
punish him.
Go ahead, Don.
It normally Crawford takes a little time to figure
Man,
out his opponent. That's the only reason why I said, 8, because he's gonna probably take 3 or 4 rounds to figure out Porter, and he's gonna figure out because Porter is a straight ahead fighter,
yeah,
and that's the only way he fights well is straight ahead trying to bully and all this other stuff. He ain't gonna be able to do that with Crawford, I don't think. Or Crawford gonna figure it out, and he gonna go toe to toe with him, and he gonna catch him clean, and he's either gonna drop him or he's gonna beat him up for 3/4 of the fight.
Hmm.
That's my impression.
Don.
I would. Gabe took the word just what I was going to add out of my mouth, and that is Porter's a straight ahead fighter, and Crawford is going to have to get on his defensive game. We all know he has defense, but you're going to have to do a lot of sidestepping with Porter because he loves to lean you on the ring and throw shots and tire you down and kind of weigh you down, and like Gabe said, be a bully. So Crawford is going to have to work on his defensive game and then pick him apart. I see Crawford beating Sean Porter. I don't see him having a problem with that.
I'm not talking about what you said. I'm not overly excited about Manny Pacquiao's resume. It's great, but when in the history of boxing have you ever seen a guy come up from bantamweight to close to middleweight to super welterweight and have no wrinkles in your game? No wrinkles. You fought the same way as a bantamweight until you go up to super welterweight, go up to 148, 150 pounds, and you don't add any wrinkle. We saw Roy Jones, arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time. When he went to heavyweight, he didn't fight those heavyweights the same way he fought middleweights. He really started to choose his spots. He used a lot of ring, way more the ring than he ever did when he was fighting middleweights. This dude was juicing, in my opinion, bro. The knockouts that he was having where he was hitting guys and they flying all over the place, and you go up from 130 and you hitting guys at 157 Margarito, guys like De La Hoya, and they getting crushed and bruised and stuff, and you add no wrinkles to your game whatsoever. Then when Mayweather asks you to take a steroid test, you say you're afraid of needles, but you got a tattoo going across your chest all the way down here. How are you afraid? How are you afraid of needles? You know, the dude was juicing. And here's your resume. How many times you fought Manuel Marquez? You fought him like 4 times. That's 4 fights on your resume. Eric Morales whipped you out.
I think he lost 2. He lost 2 times, in my opinion, to Marquez.
2 of those are Marquez. I'm not saying
not. He only lost 1, the knockout.
No,
one was a draw. One was a draw.
In my opinion, the one that was a draw, he should have lost that. So that's right.
Well, not if you scored a 10-7 round like you were supposed to score it. He knocked him down 3 times in a round. That's supposed to be a 10-7 round. If you scored the way it's supposed to be scored, he'd win that.
I seem to remember Eric Morales whipping him out with 1 punch.
Oh, yeah, and then he killed Morales the next fight. Killed him.
But yeah, he killed. But is Eric Morales a Hall of? He's close to a Hall of Fame.
Morales he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
I'd say he's borderline Hall of Famer.
No, he's a Hall of Famer.
No, he's a Hall of Famer. Not getting that.
Ooh,
you got a black hole over there.
Darknesses.
Yeah, I had to get out of my life, bro. Just give me a couple minutes.
It's all right, Gabe. They're trying to cut a couple little jokes. You know, we give you a little time.
You know, but did we forget about Jeff Horn? We forgot about that loss, huh? There's
no way
because you know that was the law. The reason why you ain't mentioning it because you know it wasn't a loss. Just like he lost just like he lost to what's his name? Bradley.
Timothy
you know that wasn't a loss.
Come on, man.
That wasn't a loss.
That wasn't no L. Come on, man.
We know that wasn't a loss.
That wasn't no L.
Mayweather's tooth out in the fight. Somehow they raised Floyd's hand at the end. And everybody kept saying, bro, you got to knock this guy out. He couldn't get this dude Jeff Horn out of it. And Jeff Horn gassed out around 10 too.
Yo, Jeff Horn lost that fight. Jeff Horn lost that fight.
Any boxing fan,
that was a setup.
Anybody in the audience, except for the Australians that were going for Horn, knows Horn lost that fight. That's just one of the bad things about boxing. They have poor officiating from time to time, and that's caused a lot of people, notches on their record.
Every now and then, Bob Aaron has those matches where it seems like Pacquiao owed him a favor, or owed him some money or something like that, where he loses, like he lost to Timothy Bradley and Jeff Horn. He always have the kind of things where Bob Aaron must be betting on the other guy and making a ton of money and get his man to take a dive. So I can't say that.
Yeah, but he didn't take no dive in that fight, Ty. They just gave it to him. They gave it to Jeff Horn.
It's not a dive, but
he beat him the whole fight, bro. He beat the dude the whole fight. I was sitting here. I remember jumping up and saying, "Man, you got to be kidding me."
What about Timothy Bradley, bro?
Wait.
You know the fix was on that, bro.
He won the fight. I'm not saying he didn't win the fight. He won the fight, but don't act like he just did whatever he wanted to do to Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn wrapped him up in there and bullied him and you give him that look. Did you see their faces after? Jeff Horn roughed him up in that fight. It wasn't like he outboxed him for 12 rounds.
Yeah, but he didn't rough him up enough to win.
No, he didn't prepare for Jeff Horn.
Let's say he roughed him up enough to win.
I didn't say that. The first thing I said in my argument was I didn't say he won the fight, but let's not act like he went and took him to school for 12 rounds.
But young Jedi, you did say that was an L on his resume, and we all agree that wasn't an L.
You think
you did? You led off with the statement he lost to Jeff Horn.
Well, let's put him in the category.
Everybody.
Let's put him in the category of all-time greats. Okay. And in his own division, you think De La Hoya would have lost to Jeff Horn?
It doesn't matter. But
wait.
There's a one-on-one. It doesn't matter who they fought and whatever. On the one-on-one matchup, he beat De La Hoya. De La Hoya wasn't in his prime, so that's on his resume as a win against De La Hoya. But we know De La Hoya wasn't in his prime.
No.
So I mean,
I'm not talking about that. I'm not about De La Hoya fighting Pacquiao. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about would Jeff Horn get in a fight with Jeff Horn fight De La Hoya? I'm talking about his contemporaries. Would Mayweather lose to Jeff Horn? Would De La Hoya, his contemporary, lose it? Would Sugar Shane? That's his contemporaries. Would they lose?
Not in their prime.
I don't know if you can't match it like that because I mean, De La Hoya lost some matches too that I thought he should have won.
That's
You can't.
Jeff Horn.
But you can't. Hey, what about Lennox Lewis?
You lost
Lennox
to Bernard
Lewis.
Hopkins.
Wait, Lennox Lewis lost to Oliver McCall.
Thank
None
you.
of the other fighters.
The Atomic
He
Bull.
lost to Hasim Rahman. He
Come on,
lost. He came back and creamed those guys though. Sometimes you can't do that because matchups is different for different
I
people.
don't like Lennox either.
Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas
So,
beat
hold
Tyson.
up.
Who would have thought Buster Douglas would have beat Mike Tyson? Come on, man. Mike Tyson said he was doing so much drugs and sleeping with 2 women and 3 women at a time that he wasn't even taking that match seriously.
Okay, what Pacquiao was doing then?
I thought the count was flawed when he knocked him down the first time.
Pacquiao didn't take Jeff Horn seriously.
Dave,
He did.
go ahead and look at Pacquiao's resume. Man, come on now. You can match his resume against anybody.
He's great.
Anybody. Now you say he was juicing, but I can tell you what, if he was juicing, he definitely looked like Barry Bonds. I can tell you that.
And his head
He
got
still
big,
looked
dog.
small.
Oh, their head got big, bro. His head got huge, dog. And he said he's
Man,
afraid of
his head
needles,
the
but you
same
got
size,
tattoos.
bro.
Come on, man. And you're
And he
knocking
still-
guys out that's 2 times bigger than you, like 3 weight classes bigger than you, like Margarito. You hitting guys.
That's great, bro.
flying
That's
across.
greatness, man. That's greatness, man.
No, that ain't no
That's
great.
greatness.
They ain't no,
That's
why you
greatness,
get
bro.
to Eric?
didn't
I'm
see
gonna give Pacquiao respect. Bro.
That's bigger than
He
him.
deserved the respect.
I gotta give
I'ma tell
Pacquiao respect
Hall
too.
of Fame. He's great. Huh?
You just seen Terrence Crawford knock out cats that's bigger than him too now. Don't say he juicy.
Who did he fight that was bigger than him?
A bunch of dudes.
Okay, but
Yeah,
we talking about 1 weight class between welterweight and super welterweight, bantamweight to middleweight, bro. And you're not
Yeah,
getting
bro.
the same thing.
You looking
I
at
love
that man grow as a boxer. He started off, how old was he when he was a professional?
16.
Okay, there it is. You don't think move up? Come on, man. You're 40-something years old now.
Oh,
You don't think you're gonna pick up some kind of weight?
I love
Floyd
Canelo.
Mayweather
Some kind
did.
of strength?
Floyd
16,
Mayweather
dog.
did too.
I love
16.
Canelo. But Canelo
You the same weight you was in 16? When you
Wait.
was 16, the same weight inside?
Oh, hell no. No,
But there it is.
no. Dog. But guess what? Even at 16, I was a super middleweight at 16. I wasn't never no bantamweight to go.
Not if
But
they
you're a
run you.
heavyweight now.
I'm very heavyweight now.
Not if
Well,
they ran you
once
like a
again,
boxer,
bro.
you wouldn't have been
Once
no super middleweight. You'd have been a bantamweight if they ran you like a boxer.
You know? Oh no. Dog. If I was no. Dog. I love Canelo. But Canelo knocking out guys like Kovalev, bro, at light heavyweight, that junk raised a red flag to me.
He was eating tainted meat, Dave.
Or tainted.
Oh, that's
No,
wild
that-
board. That's what he said.
Look.
Me.
he didn't get Kovalov in his prime. So Canelo doesn't have the resume at all. People like Canelo, but Canelo basically he's only fought Mayweather, and he fought Mayweather in his prime, but Canelo wasn't in his prime. So really, he was supposed to lose that fight. He lost that fight. Now
I mean,
there's nobody
beat
else on
Golovkin.
Canelo's.
he doesn't have the resume. True, he doesn't have that resume. But what I'm saying is, when the guys like start off at welterweight, 147, 148, and you can go in a ring and stop Sergey Kovalev and then take shots from Canelo or from a Triple G. That junk seems
Bro,
to me.
we
That
can't
He
put
lost 2 of
Kovalev.
those fights. So he lost Triple G. He lost 2 of those Triple G fights. He never beat
Ooh.
Triple G at all.
If he lost when he lost the
At best,
first,
at best, he got a draw in
Yeah.
any of those fights. At best, all of the
I say
fights were
first one
either
was
Triple
a
G.
loss. The second one, he took it to Triple G and started backing him up. Now,
Yeah.
I'm the smaller guy, and you backing me up, and the rounds are too close to call. Who am I giving to? I got to give it to the aggressor. Triple G was backing up, and he begged the man,
No,
"I want a Mexican."
Not the
fight."
whole fight. Not the whole fight,
Oh
Dave.
yeah.
Not the
I
whole
gotta
fight.
agree.
Not the whole
He
fight.
challenged Canelo. He challenged Canelo to fight Mexican style, and Canelo responded. Now, if somebody gonna beat you in your own game, bro, you got to give it to him. If I'm gonna challenge a man and say, "Hey, don't fight on the outside, come fight the inside," and he does it, and it's
And he's
close,
a
I
small
gotta give it to him.
He got
I gotta
robbed.
give it to him.
I believe Canelo got robbed that second fight. I do.
Canelo got robbed. He
No,
won the
Triple
second
G lost that fight. Triple G lost. Canelo won that fight.
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe
draw?
Canelo won that fight. Yeah, I believe that.
Those rounds were close to call. And the smaller guy is the aggressor and backing you up, and you starting to run around a little bit. I gotta give it to the.
I don't personally think Canelo was a smaller guy against Triple G. Yes, he was coming up in weight to the middleweight, but to me he was just as big as Triple G. Triple G is a middleweight, and that's what he's built his fame on, being a middleweight. Canelo started at welter, but to me he wasn't that much. If he was smaller, he wasn't that much smaller than Triple G. I can tell you that for sure. They look the same size to me. Matter of fact, he looked bigger than me. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They fought. I wouldn't have given none of those fights to Canelo. He got that because he's the up and rising champion. And it at best a draw for him. I thought Triple G at least won one of the fights. For sure won the first one. The second one most likely was a draw. I wouldn't have given it to Canelo, but Canelo is a rising star. The judges are gonna give him that. The more money that they're gonna make from Canelo. You know how that's how boxing works.
Yeah.
If whoever the contender is that can make the most money, that's who they're gonna get a victory to.
He's the money draw, the gate. That's what I meant, not the
exactly.
fight. He's the money draw.
Yes, and that's why he got those fights. And that's why that contract he had with Dan Z was not sustainable. The contract he had with De La Hoya wasn't sustainable. That was a stupid contract that they bargained for, thinking that Canelo was going to draw like that. They're banking on the Mexicans buying out every show. But if he ain't fighting nobody, and we could tell who he's fighting. If you ain't fighting nobody, you're not going to get that draw. Even from the Mexicans who love boxing, you're not going to get that draw. So they made a bad deal with him and they had to cancel it because they had no choice. He ain't that kind of a draw. He'll draw with his people, but he's exciting. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take that much work for Canelo because Canelo is a great fighter. He just hasn't fought nobody enough. He haven't had enough people that he can say he beat that are top-notch boxers, and that's when you can tell because there's a lot of really, really good fighters. Like for instance, Danny Garcia is a really, really good fighter, but anytime he fights somebody at his level, he loses. That's the difference from the cream rising to the top. We're talking about cream here. I don't know if Canelo is cream. He's a very, very good fighter. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He might even be great. But he has not been able to test his greatness against somebody on his level or better than him. Not one fight. Not one fight in the head outside of Mayweather, which Mayweather was better than him, and he was a young buck. So he was supposed to lose that fight. Now, name somebody else on his resume that was at his level or above him. Nobody. Absolutely nobody.
So he actually got a win that he shouldn't have got. Well, he got a draw that he should have lost to your boy, the Cuban fighter. What's his name?
I know you're talking about.
Landry, Aliska Landry.
Lara.
I can't see.
Lara.
On the telecast.
Right. He really lost that fight, but they put it as a draw. And also he had a draw against Troutman, I think, that Austin Troutman that he should have lost too, in my opinion. But I still think he's a good fighter. We'll see what he's going to do against Billy Joe Saunders.
That's a good matchup.
That's a nobody. That's a nobody.
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh,
Saunders ain't fought nobody, man. Nobody fought nobody.
He's got some fast hands, and he juices too.
Yeah, both of them juicy.
Didn't fight nobody.
Look, I think Canelo, should definitely get some credit. But I think when they signed to that big deal, I think it was all about the power vacuum from Mayweather retiring, and they thought he was going to fill that power vacuum. He was the new Latin superstar. He was the new De La Hoya. That's why De La Hoya was managing him. And then when he signed a huge deal with DAZN, COVID hit, so you don't have the live gate of people coming to watch it now. It's just people buying it on pay-per-view. So yeah, that kind
he's the biggest draw right now. He's still the biggest draw.
We've been waiting for him to fight the Charlo brothers, any one of the Charlo brothers. But then
if he cleaned out his division, both divisions that he could fight in, super welter or middle, if he cleaned out that, then I would give him that. But he never cleaned it out.
That's not the way boxing goes these days, Gabe. Everybody's trying to protect that O.
Right.
So, Dave, you got an interesting question that you usually ask our guests at the end, bro. So I'm interested in this one.
Man, I am so glad because I had totally forgot about a final question. Well, as you know, we're all when we have a guest that's a basketball player on the show, we ask him the same thing to close the show out. you've played with all four of us, Gabe. If there's a 2-on-2 matchup against the people on this panel, who are you selecting on your team to play with?
Oh, you know I gotta go with Big Brother, bro. I'm a Big Brother, so I gotta go with Big Brother.
Here we
You know I
go.
gotta go with Big Brother.
It is.
Here we go.
There's only one torchbearer, baby. That's the oldest brother. Typically, the oldest brother is the torchbearer, so gotta go with the torchbearer, baby.
All right. And y'all feel like
You heard that? That was without hesitation. You heard the man.
you going with him because of your philosophy of older brothers, or you think y'all gonna win?
Oh, we know we're gonna win. I mean, that ain't a
wow.
question that we're gonna win.
Oh, we got to do this.
Hold on, Dave, we already proved that.
Oh,
Have we proved that over the
Y'all
years?
never played us.
We even played y'all two.
Yes, we did. We played. Where we playing at? It was. Oh, did we play in the Bahamas? I don't know if we played in
No.
the Bahamas or not.
Yeah, I played you in Bahamas. I remember me and you playing the Bahamas.
Just me and you. It wasn't all four of us playing.
Don wasn't playing too much because he was
Don wasn't
getting
playing.
ready
He
for that
wasn't
big day.
going
You know what I'm saying?
He needed all of his stuff.
Dave, as much as I would like to say we have played these two dudes, because I know they talk a whole lot of trash, we never played these two that I can think
Really?
of. Played on
Yes.
Surprised.
We played on the same team together. We played intramural ball together, but we never played 2-on-2 against these two dudes right
I
here.
thought sure we did that in the Bahamas, man. I thought sure
No.
we did that in the Bahamas.
No.
No, I missed out on that.
We're gonna have to play that matchup to see how that goes. Might want to put that little, double cab and a cigar down and get yourself ready. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Game, stay ready, man. I ain't worried about game.
So we'll have to remedy that, Brad. Next time you're back in town, us poor folks here in Louisiana. I know you're in DC in the big time and everything, but we have to play that, bro.
Oh, I didn't know you was in DC, Gabe. I should have looked you up. I'm in DC a lot, in Baltimore.
All right.
Area.
Yeah, man. I'm about 20 minutes from Baltimore, about 25 minutes from DC. I'm right in the middle.
Okay, my
Right in the
friend lived in Springfield, Maryland. Which is not
Springfield.
that far. Yeah.
You mean Silver Spring?
Silver Spring. There you go. Silver Spring. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Silver Spring. Thank you.
Well, Gabe, it was good having you on the show. We really appreciate your insight into basketball, particularly boxing as well. We definitely have to have you back if you have time. We appreciate you coming on the show. And everybody, don't forget to get vaccinated. It's something we've been pushing as well. And until next time, everybody, shoot the J.
Yes, sir.
All right, baby. Y'all take
Good
care,
seeing
man.
you,
Peace
Gabe.
and love to y'all. Good
All
seeing
right.
y'all
Good stuff,
again.
bro. We'll see you,
Good
man.
seeing you, man. Later.